The sky over Alarion burned like an open wound. Once, the holy capital had touched the clouds. White towers of marble and gold had stood proudly above the kingdom, shining like stars against the night. Now those towers were broken. Their shattered remains rose through the smoke like giant black teeth. Ash drifted across the ruined streets. Fire crawled through the city. And everywhere, people screamed. Demons moved through the capital like starving animals. Some dragged bodies through the rubble. Others fed openly in the streets, tearing souls from the dying while the sky bled red above them. At the center of the ruined kingdom stood the royal citadel. Inside its cracked throne hall, Princess Arya knelt before a glowing summoning circle carved into the marble floor. The light was fading. Her silver armor was cracked and stained with blood. Dust and soot covered her golden hair. Around her lay the bodies of the last royal knights, men and women who had died protecting the final chamber. They had failed. Arya pressed shaking hands together as tears ran down her face. "By the covenant of realms," she whispered weakly, "by the promise of the old gods, grant us a champion." The runes flickered. Weak. Unstable. The court mags who once controlled the ritual were already dead. Their bodies lay scattered across the hall beside shattered staffs and burned scrolls. Only Arya remained. And even she was running out of strength. Still, she poured the last of her magic into the circle. The symbols suddenly glowed brighter. For one brief moment, hope returned. Then the wall shook. A monstrous shadow rose beyond the broken palace gates. The demon Lord Kareth. His massive wings spread across the burning sky, so large they blocked the red sunlight itself. His laughter rolled across the kingdom like distant thunder. "Summon whoever you wish, little mortal," Kareth growled. His voice shook the stone beneath her knees. "No god will save your world now." Outside, thousands of demons roared in answer. Arya looked down at the dying circle. The light was collapsing. This was her last chance. Her final prayer. She screamed into the magic with everything she had left. "Then let anyone hear me." The chamber trembled violently. From any world, from any age. The runes burned brighter and brighter. "Please." Tears streamed down her face. "Help us." The summoning circle exploded. A wave of force shattered the marble floor and blasted through the throne hall like a storm. Broken stone flew through the air. Pillars cracked apart. Then suddenly, silence. No screams. No thunder. Nothing. For one heartbeat, the world stood still. Then came a sound. A low mechanical hum. Cold. Unfamiliar. Followed by a sharp metallic click. Clack. Smoke drifted through the ruined hall. And from inside the darkness, someone stepped forward. Arya froze. The figure was massive. A man wrapped completely in heavy green armor scarred by battle. Deep claw marks covered the metal plates. Burn marks blackened the chest armor. His helmet visor glowed like molten gold in the dark. In his hands rested a long black weapon with a rotating barrel still spinning softly from internal power. The air around him smelled like oil, metal, and burned flesh. Arya stared in shock. This was not a holy knight. Not a mage. Not anything from her world. "What are you?" she whispered. The armored stranger said nothing. He slowly scanned the ruined chamber. The dead knights. The burning walls. The blood. Then he looked toward the distant sound of screaming outside. At that exact moment, the outer gates exploded. A deafening crash echoed across the citadel as demons tore through the final defenses. "They are here." Arya gasped. Dozens of creatures stormed into the courtyard below. Twisted monsters with burning eyes and jagged claws climbed over the broken walls, shrieking as they charged toward the throne hall. Arya stumbled backward. "Please," she begged. "Champion, save us." The armored man moved before she even finished speaking. No speech. No promise. No hesitation. He simply walked forward. And the demons rushed to meet him. The first demon reached him with a scream. It never touched the ground again. The stranger raised his weapon. And the world exploded into thunder. The spinning barrel roared to life with a sound like a machine tearing reality apart. Streams of blazing fire ripped through the courtyard as hundreds of rounds tore into the charging horde. Demons burst apart mid-run. Bodies shattered into clouds of blood and ash before they could even scream. The recoil alone cracked the marble beneath his boots. Princess Arya covered her face as pieces of armor, bone, and burning flesh rained across the courtyard like crimson hail. But the armored warrior never slowed. Not even for a second. He walked directly into the swarm. Calm. Precise. Like he had done this 1,000 times before. A horned creature lunged from a side, claws reaching for his throat. The stranger dropped the rotary cannon instantly. The massive weapon folded behind his back with mechanical precision, while another gun slid into his hands. Short. Heavy. Double-barreled. The demon opened its jaws. Blam. The first shot erased its upper body completely. Blam. The second shell tore through 2 more creatures behind it, turning them into burning mist. The sound echoed across the ruined capital. More demons flooded through the broken gates. Hundreds now. Snarling beasts with blades, wings, spikes, and glowing red eyes. Any normal warrior would have run. The stranger stepped forward instead. His armor moved with terrifying efficiency. Every motion was exact. Every shot landed perfectly. A rifle appeared in his hands. Sharp bursts of gunfire punched through skulls with brutal accuracy. Another demon leapt from above. He caught it midair with one hand. For a moment the creature screamed and clawed at the green armor. Then the stranger slammed an explosive device into its chest and kicked it backward into the horde. The explosion lit the courtyard white. Stone shattered. Demons burned alive where they stood. Arya watched in stunned silence. She had seen Master Knights, battle mags, holy guardians blessed by the gods themselves. None of them fought like this. This man fought like war itself had taken human form. Another creature charged him from behind, roaring in rage. The stranger spun instantly. A glowing blade shot from his gauntlet with a violent metallic snap. The energy edge hummed bright blue. One strike. That was all. The demon froze. A glowing line appeared across its chest. Then its body split clean in half. The remains collapsed smoking onto the stone. Still more came. The entire courtyard became chaos. Gunfire flashed through clouds of ash. Explosions shook the citadel walls. Demonic screams mixed with the roar of weapons Arya could not even understand. And through all of it, the armored stranger kept moving forward. Unstoppable. A giant beast smashed through the palace doors behind him. Towering muscles twisted beneath black skin while molten saliva dripped from rows of jagged teeth. The creature roared loud enough to shake the hall. Arya felt fear stab through her chest. That monster alone had destroyed entire battalions earlier that morning. The stranger looked at it for exactly 1 second. Then he reached behind his back and pulled out something even larger. A weapon shaped like a cannon. White energy glowed through vents along its surface. The air around it distorted from pure heat. The beast charged. The stranger fired. A beam of blinding light erupted across the courtyard. Not fire. Not magic. Pure destruction. The blast hit the creature head-on and erased it instantly. Not killed. Not burned. Erased. The beam continued through the palace wall behind it, carving a glowing trench across the city before finally vanishing into the burning horizon. Silence followed. Even the demons stopped moving for a moment. Arya stared at the stranger in disbelief. Whoever this man was. He was not simply a warrior. He was something far worse. Above the city, thunder rolled across the blood-red sky. Then came a roar. Deep. Ancient. Filled with rage. The demon Lord Kareth descended from the clouds. His massive body crashed into the courtyard hard enough to crack the earth itself. Broken marble exploded outward beneath his claws as black fire spread across the ground around him. His remaining army instantly fell back. Even the demons feared him. Kareth slowly rose to his full height, towering over the battlefield. Smoke curled from his jaws as burning yellow eyes locked onto the armored stranger. For the first time since arriving, the green warrior stopped moving. The two figures stared at each other across the ruined courtyard while ash drifted between them. Then Kareth smiled. "You," the demon lord growled softly. His voice carried something new now. Not arrogance. Recognition. "I know what you are." The courtyard fell silent. Even the flames seemed smaller now. Princess Arya stood frozen near the shattered palace stairs, barely breathing as the demon lord stared at the armored warrior. Caratha's massive wings spread slowly behind him, casting shadows across the ruins. Black fire dripped from his claws. "I know you're kind," the demon lord said. His voice rolled through the city like distant thunder. "I have seen worlds consumed by warriors like you." The stranger said nothing. His golden visor reflected the burning ruins around him while smoke curled from the barrel of his weapon. Carath took one heavy step forward. The ground cracked beneath his weight. "But this world already belongs to me." A deep growl echoed across the battlefield. Then the demon lord attacked. He moved far faster than something that large should have been able to move. One moment he stood across the courtyard. The next, his claws smashed through the exact place where the stranger had been standing. Stone exploded upward. Arya screamed. But through the dust came another sound. Gunfire. The armored warrior had dodged at the last possible second. He slid across broken marble and opened fire instantly, bullets tearing into Caratha's chest in blazing streaks. The demon lord barely flinched. The rounds ripped holes through black armor and flesh. Yet the wounds healed almost immediately. Carath laughed. "You cannot kill me so easily." He slammed both fists into the ground. Dark energy exploded outward in a massive wave. The palace walls cracked. Dead bodies flew through the air. Arya was thrown backward across the floor as black fire raced through the courtyard like a living storm. The stranger stood directly in its path. For the first time, Arya thought he might actually fall. Then the armor changed. Glowing runes flashed across the green metal as a blue energy shield burst to life around him. The wave crashed against it with a deafening explosion. Fire swallowed the courtyard. When the smoke cleared, he was still standing. Not a single step moved. Caratha's smile vanished. The warrior lowered the damaged shield slowly. Then he reached to his side. Another weapon unfolded into his hands. This one looked cruel. Industrial. A massive rifle covered in rotating chambers and glowing red heat vents. The demon lord sensed danger immediately. His wings snapped open. Too late. The stranger fired. Chunks of molten metal screamed through the air like miniature meteors. Each impact exploded with violent force. Carath roared as pieces of armor and flesh were blasted from his body. One shot ripped through his shoulder completely, sending burning blood across the courtyard. The demon lord staggered backward. Arya stared in disbelief. No one had ever wounded Carath before. Not once. The demon lord roared in fury and launched himself into the sky. The clouds twisted around him as dark lightning spread across the heavens. "You dare challenge me?" he thundered. The entire city shook. Thousands of surviving demons suddenly poured from the streets below, climbing over ruins and flooding toward the citadel from every direction. An army. Arya's face turned pale. "There are too many." The stranger looked down at the endless horde approaching the palace. Then, slowly, he holstered the weapon. Carath laughed from above. At last, the demon lord growled, "You understand despair." The armored warrior reached behind his back again. But this time, he pulled out something different. Not a gun. A sword. The blade burned with pure crimson energy. Heat rolled from it in waves so intense the air itself warped around the weapon. The demons hesitated. Instinct. Fear. Even monsters understood danger. Then the stranger charged. What followed did not feel like battle. It felt like extermination. The glowing blade carved through demons faster than the eye could follow. Limbs and bodies flew apart in every direction as the armored warrior tore through the horde with terrifying speed. One swing split 3 creatures in half. Another carved straight through a towering beast twice his size. He moved endlessly. Relentlessly. A machine of violence wrapped in steel and fury. Demons screamed as explosions ripped through the battlefield. Some burned alive. Others vanished beneath gunfire before they could even reach him. The courtyard became a slaughterhouse. And at the center of it stood the stranger. Still silent. Still unstoppable. Carath watched from the sky. For the first time in centuries, the demon lord looked uncertain. Then, suddenly, the stranger looked up directly at him and pointed the burning sword toward the heavens. A challenge. Caratha's eyes widened with rage. "You dare?" he roared. The clouds exploded apart as the demon lord dove toward the citadel like a falling mountain. And this time, the stranger ran toward him too. The impact shook the entire capital. Kareth crashed into the courtyard like a meteor of black fire while the armored warrior launched upward to meet him. For one violent moment, the two collided in midair. The shockwave blasted outward across Alarion. Windows shattered miles away. Broken towers collapsed into the streets. Arya barely managed to hold onto the palace stairs as fire and ash roared past her. The demon lord struck first. His claws slashed through the air fast enough to tear stone apart, but the stranger twisted sideways at the last second. Sparks exploded from his armor as one claw barely grazed his shoulder plate. He answered instantly. The burning energy sword carved across Kareth's chest, leaving a glowing wound that sprayed molten blood across the battlefield. Kareth roared in pain, then grabbed the warrior with one massive hand and hurled him through a palace wall. The stranger disappeared into the ruins with a thunderous crash. Stone collapsed inward. Dust filled the air. For the first time since his arrival, everything became still. Arya's heart stopped. No. Kareth landed heavily in the center of the ruined courtyard. Smoke curled from the deep wound across his chest while dark blood hissed against the burning ground. You are strong, the demon lord growled. But every warrior breaks eventually. He raised one claw toward the shattered palace ruins. Black energy gathered in his palm. The air itself began to scream. Arya felt terror grip her chest. One blast from that power had erased entire districts of the city earlier that day. If he fired now, the whole citadel would disappear. Kareth smiled. Then a sound echoed from the rubble behind him. Heavy footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. The demon lord turned. A massive slab of broken stone suddenly flew across the courtyard. Kareth barely blocked it before another object slammed into him. A grenade. The explosion engulfed his face in white fire. Before the smoke cleared, the stranger burst from the ruins. His armor was damaged now. One shoulder plate hung cracked open. Burn marks covered his chest. Sparks flickered across parts of the suit. But he was still moving. Still advancing. Kareth roared and charged him again. This time the demon lord fought with pure fury. Claws smashed through pillars. Black fire exploded across the ground. The stranger dodged through destruction with terrifying precision, firing between movements, every shot aimed perfectly at weak points in Kareth's armor. Then the demon lord caught him. One massive claw closed around the warrior's body and slammed him hard against the courtyard floor. The stone beneath him shattered instantly. Kareth pressed harder. The entire crater deepened. You are nothing, the demon lord thundered. Arya saw cracks spreading across the green armor. Warning lights flashed red across the suit. For the first time, the stranger looked trapped. Kareth opened his jaws wide. Dark fire gathered deep inside his throat. Arya's eyes widened in horror. No. The blast erupted downward. Black flames swallowed the crater completely. The explosion lit the entire city. Heat rolled across the palace like a storm. When the fire finally faded, the crater was empty. Kareth blinked, confused. Then something moved behind him. Too late. The stranger had escaped beneath the flames. He drove a glowing blade straight through the demon lord's side. Kareth screamed. The warrior ripped the blade upward violently, tearing through armor, flesh, and bone before kicking the demon lord backward across the courtyard. The massive creature crashed through 3 stone pillars before stopping. For the first time, Kareth looked afraid. The stranger slowly walked forward through smoke and burning debris. Then he reached to his belt and pulled free one final weapon. Small. Simple. A brutal double-barreled shotgun. Kareth stared at it in confusion. The warrior pumped the weapon once. Check, check. The sound echoed through the silent courtyard. Then, suddenly, his visor glowed brighter than before. And when he spoke, his voice came out low, rough, and filled with absolute hatred. Rip. He stepped closer. And tear. Kareth's eyes widened. Because in that moment, the demon lord finally understood. This was not a man summoned to save the world. This was something demons feared. Kareth rose slowly from the ruins. His breathing had become uneven now. Dark blood poured from the wounds across his body, burning holes into the stone wherever it touched. One wing hung broken behind him while black flames flickered weakly around his claws. For the first time in centuries, the demon lord looked desperate. The armored warrior kept walking toward him. Slow, steady, unstoppable. Every heavy footstep echoed across the ruined courtyard. Check, check. The shotgun locked into place again. Kareth backed away instinctively. Then rage twisted across his face. No, he roared. I am eternal. The sky exploded with dark lightning. Thousands of souls suddenly burst from the demon lord's body, screaming as they spiraled around him like a storm. The air turned black. The ground cracked apart. Kareth's wounds began healing rapidly. His broken wings snapped back into place. Power flooded through him once more. Arya felt hope die inside her chest. Even now, he could not be killed. Kareth rose into the air surrounded by darkness. You cannot destroy me, he thundered. I have conquered worlds beyond counting. The storm above the city twisted into a giant vortex of black fire. Then the demon lord stretched both arms outward. And the sky opened. Massive burning portals appeared above Alarion. More demons. Thousands more. Winged horrors descended from the heavens while giant creatures climbed from the portals screaming into the night. The surviving people of the capital cried out in terror. It was over. No army could stop this. No kingdom could survive it. Princess Arya looked toward the armored warrior one final time. But he didn't look afraid. He looked angry. The stranger slowly lifted his head toward the burning sky, toward the endless demon army descending upon the world. Then he reached behind his back one last time, and pulled out the largest weapon yet. A cannon. Massive. Ancient-looking beneath all the machinery. White energy pulsed through glowing lines across its surface while the air around it screamed with heat. Kareth's confidence vanished instantly. No, the demon lord whispered. The stranger aimed the weapon skyward. Every portal above the city began shaking violently. The cannon charged with a rising mechanical whine. Higher, higher, higher. Then, he fired. The world turned white. A beam of pure annihilation erupted into the heavens. The sky itself split apart. Every portal exploded instantly. Entire waves of demons vanished mid-flight, erased so completely not even ash remained behind. The blast continued upward through the clouds, tearing a burning scar across the atmosphere itself before finally fading into silence. For several seconds, nobody moved. The battlefield was gone. The sky was clear again. Only smoke remained. Kareth stared upward in horror. His army. Gone. The stranger lowered the cannon slowly, then looked directly at the demon lord, and began walking toward him again. Kareth panicked. For the first time ever, the ruler of demons turned to flee. Black fire erupted behind him as he opened a portal with trembling claws. No more, he snarled desperately. Another time, another world. He stepped backward toward the rift. But the armored warrior moved faster. One shotgun blast destroyed Kareth's remaining wing. The demon lord crashed to the ground screaming. The stranger was on him instantly. Brutal. Violent. Unrelenting. The shotgun roared again and again at point-blank range while Kareth clawed desperately at the armor, trying to escape. Nothing stopped him. Nothing slowed him. Finally, the warrior grabbed the demon lord by the throat and dragged him toward the collapsing portal. Kareth's eyes filled with terror. "What are you?" he gasped. The stranger stared into the monster's burning eyes. Then he spoke one final time. Low. Cold. Absolute. Your end. He activated the blade. The crimson energy sword erupted through Kareth's chest. The demon lord screamed as cracks of burning light spread across his entire body. Then, he exploded. The shockwave rolled across Alarion like thunder. And suddenly, it was over. The portals collapsed. The demons died where they stood. Silence returned to the broken capital. Only the sound of burning fires remained. Princess Arya slowly walked through the ruins toward the armored stranger. Bodies surrounded him. Smoke curled from his damaged armor while the golden visor dimmed softly in the darkness. "You saved us," Arya whispered. Her voice trembled. The prophecy was true. The stranger said nothing. He simply looked over the destroyed city, the dead demons, the shattered towers, the survivors slowly emerging from hiding. A world barely alive. Arya stopped beside him carefully. I never even learned your name. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the armored warrior reached up slowly and pressed a switch on the side of his helmet. Hiss. The visor lifted. Arya froze. The face beneath was human. Scarred. Exhausted. A man shaped by endless war. His eyes burned with the fury of someone who had seen hell too many times, and walked back out alive every single time. They call me the Slayer, he said quietly. Arya blinked slowly. Slayer of demons. A faint shadow of humor crossed his face. Yeah. He turned and began walking toward the burning horizon. Then he glanced back one final time. You can call me. His visor locked back into place with a metallic snap. Doom Guy.